Well, hello. Welcome to the Best Football Show. I'm Brian Baldinger. It's Monday, November 4th. Tomorrow is the trade deadline for the NFL. This is a free podcast that you can download, Odyssey, wherever you get your podcast from. This is a free Odyssey podcast here, this football show, the Best Football Show. We do this almost daily. So this is Monday's version, looking back at week 9 and some of the things that I've seen. Well, we've got news. I never like to announce this news. It's not something I'm a big fan of, but the New Orleans Saints have made a decision after 7 straight losses to fire Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen took over for Sean Payton, of course, and they are struggling. They won their first 2 games. In fact, their first game, the first win, was against the Carolina Panthers. They put up 47 points. They looked dynamic, awesome. And then they lost to the Carolina Panthers yesterday. And really, when you look at the 2 teams, Carolina is improving. Bryce Young wins the game as a starter. He was terrible in his opener. He was benched, and only because of a car accident to the Red Rifle does he get a chance to go in there and play, and he plays pretty well, and he wins the game. So the Saints have made a move. Second firing this year. The new interim head coach is the special teams and assistant head coach, Darren Rizzi. Darren has been an assistant head coach in both Miami and in New Orleans. And he's been the special teams coach in both those places for 15 years. He's a Jersey guy. He went to Bergen Catholic High School right in Oradell, New Jersey, up north here from where I'm at. So anyways, second fire. Robert Saleh, of course, with the Jets, and now Dennis Allen. Never a good thing. The Saints are really struggling. Maybe they'll get a boost from Darren Rizzi. I know he's a good special teams coach. He's a straight shooter. I'm sure he get the respect of everybody in the locker room, but they've got to turn things around after 7 straight losses. I would announce the Eagles win yesterday against Jacksonville. We'll get to the Eagles in a second. Jacksonville has 1st and 10 with 1 minute and 40 seconds to go, somewhere around, the Eagles' 13-yard line. And Nakobe Dean intercepts a Trevor Lawrence pass to Juergens Johnson in the end zone to put the game on ice. It's a shame because Trevor Lawrence did not play great. Jacksonville did not play great, but they stayed in it. They were down 22-0 in the third quarter. They stayed in it, and they got down with a chance, down 5, with a chance to win the game. And Trevor just he couldn't make the play, didn't make the play. I'm not saying there was a better play to be made, but it was first down. You don't like it. If you don't like the matchup with Dearness Young against Nakobe Dean, you can always just throw it out of the back of the end zone, throw it away, get your second down. I thought, Evan Ingram, Brian Thomas Jr. would have been better options. I'd try to get plays to those guys. They're very, very good players. Brian Thomas Jr., I think, had 2 catches the whole day. He's their best player. But credit the Eagles. The Eagles have come a long ways. They've got 2 good linebackers. Zach Bond led them in tackles again. One of the leading tacklers in the entire National Football League, in Nakobe Dean, has been playing great. Great football. Got a game ball for that interception in the end zone yesterday. But really the story is Saquon. Saquon had, 30 touches yesterday, well over 100 yards, bunch receiving. Had the highlight of the day in the NFL, hurdling over Jerry Jones, the rookie corner, backwards, like at least 5 feet up in the air on a little swing pass on the outside. Maybe 2 guys missed, and then for whatever reason went backwards like he's right out of the Matrix. But the big story is the Eagles offense. I mean, just talking to the right tackle, Lane Johnson, playing literally the best football of his entire life. Him and Mackay, Cam Juergens, Landon Dickerson, Fred Johnson. I mean, just a dominant performance against Jacksonville. Lane just likes to call it, we just run and hit. We run and hit, and we just move. There was just they wore their Kelly Green jerseys yesterday, and they just moved the line of scrimmage all day long. And Saquon is right on the heels of Derrick Henry to win this rushing title. He's right on the heels to win the total yards from scrimmage title. He did that his rookie year when he went over 2,000 yards. He's on pace for over that right now. So Saquon's having a magnificent season. The Eagles played the second half without A.J. Brown, but Devontae Smith came up with the catch of the day. It turned out to be the game-winning touchdown. So the Eagles win 4 in a row. They're off and running. Jacksonville just continues to struggle. And quarterback is part of it. But there's a lot of issues there. They trade away their left tackle, Cam Robinson, Minnesota. There's a lot there. Let's get to the Atlanta Falcons. They took the Dallas Cowboys apart. It was just interesting watching Bijan. Yes, they have just a great day. Really a great day. I mean, running it, receiving, lining up at wide receiver as a receiver, running stop routes against linebackers, making them pay, check down screens. I mean, when I was watching it, you just see, the Cowboys are just not a very talented roster. Outside of CD Lamb, Dak Prescott playing ways capable of playing, at times, there's legit talent there. But, this Cowboys organization came in 1960. They've been around for 65 years now. Or do I have that right? 65 years they've been around. And honestly, they always had great running backs. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard. I mean, those were good backs. But, obviously Emmett, obviously when you look at, Zeke in his prime, Tony Dorsett ran right into the Hall of Fame. You just go Walt Garrison, Dan Reeves. They've always had great running backs. Always. They don't have one right now. They signed, they've had some guys that have had good days in this business, but they're not up for that anymore. And then defensively, you look at what Atlanta did to them. Kirk Cousins, they tried to pressure him. Kirk played very well through the 3 touchdowns. And Atlanta moves to 6-3, and we'll see what Tampa does tonight against Kansas City. But they might very well have a 2-game lead in that division after tonight's games. Let's look at the Baltimore Ravens and what they did to the Denver Broncos, because Bo Nix is coming off his best game as a pro last week when he threw 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions, ran the offense extremely well. It was a tight ball game for a while. It was 10-7 for a long time. But the difference really in this game, Sean Payton, he game planned and maneuvered and balanced his run and passes up and tried to keep Bo Nix out of harm's way. And his first pass got intercepted, tip ball off the receiver's hands. Darius Washington intercepted it. But really, Lamar Jackson is you just run out of superlatives. I mean, he just had his 4th perfect game, quarterback rating of 158.3. His 4th. Peyton Manning in his career had 3. Kurt Warner had 3. Like, you just look at what he's doing right now. He's doing things nobody's ever done before. He had 3 touchdown passes yesterday, one prettier than the other, and he had 3 incompletions. And it's not like he's dinking and dunking. I mean, he's chucking the ball all over the yard. Zay Flowers, another great day. And look, they got a nice dose of the King. Derrick Henry was very good, ran for 2 touchdowns from inside the 10 at a 7-yarder, 6-yarder. And he got over his 100 yards again. They're just a very dynamic football team when Lamar plays like that. They're very difficult to beat. And Denver has a very good defense, but you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it against Lamar yesterday and Derrick Henry. They pierced him pretty good. And so hats off to Lamar, to the Ravens, getting back on the winning ways. What else here with the Ravens? They're very good. They're very good at home. They bounced back from that defeat in Cleveland last week. But that was, Lamar was the story. He's having he's the 2-time MVP of this league, and he's so much better than in any of those years that he won. He might be the best passer in this whole league right now. And we don't have a lot of them. We don't have a lot of great passers right now, but he's the best. Jared Goff is right there on his heels. He's playing phenomenal football. But Lamar just gives you that element right now of his ability to run, scramble, extend, throw from any platform, anywhere on the field, under any kind of pressure, and he's taking care of the football. So hats off to the Ravens as they are pulling away in the AFC North right now. And then let's get to this Colts and Viking game yesterday. The Colts defense was the story in the first half. You get Kenny Moore with the fumble recovery for a touchdown for the only points in the first half, up 7-0. You see Zaire Franklin intercepting Sam Darnold in the end zone, take points away early in that game. You look at DeForest Buckner with a sack to get the Vikings out of field goal range at the end of the first half. I mean, the defense of Indianapolis was phenomenal. But look, they made Shane Steichen. They made a big decision at quarterback this week. They benched Anthony Richardson. It wasn't a suspension. It wasn't a one-game thing. They benched Anthony Richardson for his performance the week before. Whether him tapping out had anything to do with it, I don't know, because nobody has said that. A lot of speculation about that. They benched him for Joe Flacco. Joe had played three pretty good games, real good games, when he came in relief in Pittsburgh and led him to a victory and put up 34 points against Jacksonville in a loss and helped win the game against Tennessee. They went to Joe, and Joe didn't play great yesterday. Nobody did. Vikings defense is difficult to figure out. Brian Flores gets you to third down. It's good luck. Good luck trying to figure out his disguises of all the things he can do, because he fooled Joe Flacco a couple of times, and Joe struggled. And, look, the receivers didn't play great, and they played a rookie left tackle out of Pittsburgh, third-round pick out of Pittsburgh at left tackle. They didn't run the ball particularly well. They dropped some passes. I mean, they didn't play well on offense. It wasn't just Joe Flacco. I didn't think they had the best game plan against it, but let's face it. Brian Flores right now and his defense have 14 interceptions in 8 games. 14 interceptions. They're 6-2 on the heels of the Detroit Lions. Of course, they lost to Detroit last week. But 14 interceptions in 8 games. I mean, they're on pace to have 30 interceptions this year. So hats off to Brian Flores, his defense, and all the things that he does, all the disguises. 7 guys up there on 3rd and 5. They drop back into a Tampa 2. 8 guys up there on 3rd and 6. They drop back to a 2-man with a trail technique where they're manning the receivers, but they're underneath them with the safeties over the top. And Byron Murphy gets himself an interception on Joe Flacco. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here. Early this week in the film room, got obviously a bunch of good games to get to that we'll talk about tomorrow. We'll talk about the Kansas City and Tampa game tonight. Can Kansas City stay undefeated? Who makes a move tomorrow at the trade deadline? We might be able to get to that. There might be some news that breaks today or tomorrow morning. We'll get to that. And, of course, the overtime game, Seattle and the Rams. Rams win 2 in a row now, get to 4-4. They're a hot team. They find a way. A lot of good stuff right there in the NFC West. We'll get to Arizona and their big win against Chicago, just a complete beatdown. And what they're doing to win their second in a row to get to 5-4 and in first place in the NFC West. I'll tell you all about their defense because their secondary is phenomenal. I'll tell you about how Kyler Murray and Connor are playing great football right now. So anyways, a lot to get to tomorrow, and we will do that only on the Best Football Show. Thanks for joining me here on Monday, November 4th. Tomorrow is the trade deadline. I have a feeling we'll have some news to talk about tomorrow.